Has anyone ever challenged you at something not knowing you were an expert in that field? I used to work as an architect and was heavily pushing for building a new high school in a less well-off and non-educated area. The demand was high, with parents saying there was the only school in the city and that they wanted their children to have a chance in the world. Unfortunately, the city council refused to approve it. They claimed we didn't have the funding for it, but we did have funding for it, and I knew they were only saying no because a new school wasn't as profitable as, say, the nightclub they wanted me to design. The back and forth between me and some of the members reached a heated boiling point, and we decided we needed to have a serious meeting with the city council president. Well, the meeting went just as I expected, with the city council president doing everything he could to explain to me why we didn't have the funding. I tried to talk, but he kept interrupting. I'd let him speak, and when his point was finished, I'd start, but he wouldn't even let me. He threw every argument in the book at me as to why we couldn't afford it. But there was one thing he refused to do. Show me. I asked him over and over to please show me the official budget. If he did, and he was right, and we didn't have the funding, I would back down immediately. But he refused. Instead, he just kept quoting this book about how much funding was needed to build schools. In fact, this book was his #1 claim to fame. By the time he was done arguing, it felt like a smoking gun had gone off in the room. Everyone around me was looking at me with sly grins, almost as if their master had just owned me. But then, I did something. I asked the city council president if he knew the name of the guy who wrote the book he was referring to. He said it's not relevant, but I asked him again. He shrugged his shoulders and said the author's name. Do you know my name? I asked him with a slightly cocky tone. You see, from the second I walked in, this imbecile hadn't even asked for my name. He just started spewing. So when I asked him if he knew my name, he said, I actually don't. Should I? With that, I proceeded to take out my wallet, and I pulled out my business card. I gave it to him, and as he read it, his face dropped. He realized I was the author of the book he was referring to the entire time. He started stumbling over his words, and as he did, I interrupted him, like he had done to me. I told him it's clear to me he is too analytically deficient to comprehend what I'm saying in this book, because it actually backs up my claims, not his. With that, I proceeded to go through the book in front of the entire council. The guy went completely red, and at one point while I was ripping his arguments in half, even tried excusing himself to go to the bathroom. Because of this meeting, the new school had to be approved. They were left with no choice.